Get ready for Cat and Mouse in Partnership, where a cunning cat and a trusting mouse team up for winter. But watch out, because one of them has a very sly secret about their yummy winter treats.
Once upon a time, a sleek black cat and a tiny gray mouse became the best of friends, deciding to live together. They promised to care for each other, especially as winter approached. "We must prepare for the cold, frosty days, or we'll be very hungry," purred the cat wisely. "And you, dear mouse, cannot go everywhere safely. You might get into trouble." The tiny mouse nodded, her whiskers twitching thoughtfully, agreeing with her clever friend wholeheartedly, for she trusted the cat completely. They knew they needed to gather food before the snow fell. Following the cat's good advice, they bought a big, round pot of delicious white fat. "But where will we keep our special treats safe?" wondered the mouse, twirling her tail excitedly. After much pondering, the crafty cat's eyes gleamed with a secret plan. "I know the perfect spot," she declared. "We'll hide it in the quiet church, beneath the altar, where no one would ever dare to touch it. We won't open it until we truly need it, when winter's chill bites hard." And so the pot was placed in safety by the cunning cat. It wasn't long before the sly cat's tummy rumbled with a yearning for a taste of the yummy fat. One sunny morning, the cat put on a very important, innocent face. "Oh, dear mouse, I have amazing news," she announced with feigned excitement. "My cousin has had a sweet little baby son, and I am asked to be his godmother at the christening today. Please, could you look after our cozy house by yourself?" The kind mouse, feeling a little lonely but trusting, agreed, Yes, of course you must go." But alas, the clever cat was telling a big fib. She had no cousin and no invitation. Instead, she crept straight to the quiet church, her paws patting softly on the stone floor. There she found the hidden pot of fat, and her emerald eyes twinkled mischievously. With a satisfied sigh, she began to lick and lick, enjoying the rich, creamy taste. She heartily devoured the entire top layer of the precious fat, leaving a noticeable dip in the pot. Afterwards, she took a long nap in the sun, dreaming of her next snack. Later that evening, when the plump cat finally returned home, the curious mouse scurried forward. "Well, hello there again," chirped the mouse, her tail swishing with curiosity. "I bet you had a truly merry day, didn't you?" The cat, pretending to be tired but secretly glowing with satisfaction, purred. "Oh yes, everything went off just perfectly." "So what name did they give the sweet little baby?" asked the mouse eagerly. The cat responded coolly, "They named him Top Off." The mouse's tiny jaw dropped in surprise. "Top Off!" she cried, her voice a squeak of wonder. "My goodness, what an incredibly odd and unusual name. Is that a common name within your family, my dear cat?" The cat gave a dismissive flick of her tail, trying to sound unbothered. "What does it matter?" she scoffed. "It's no worse than names like Crumb Stealer, which some of your godchildren are called." The mouse felt a tiny pang of hurt, but didn't argue further. She just shook her head, still thinking about the peculiar name, while the cat dreamed of her next secret snack. Not long after, that familiar longing for more fat began to prickle the cat's thoughts again. She approached the mouse with another elaborate tale. "My dearest mouse," the cat began, her voice dripping with mock sincerity, "you simply must do me another favor and run the house alone for just one more day." She paused for dramatic effect, then continued, "I've been asked to be godmother again, and this little one has a charming white ring around its neck, so I simply cannot refuse." The kind-hearted mouse, still trusting, gave her consent, though a tiny flicker of doubt stirred within her. But the cat, with a mischievous twinkle in her emerald eyes, didn't head to any christening. Instead, she snuck silently behind the town walls, her paws soft and hushed, until she reached the church once more. There she found the precious pot of fat, now noticeably less full. Nothing tastes quite as good as what one keeps all to oneself, she purred greedily. She then devoured another big half of the fat with great delight. The pot was now nearly empty, and the cat felt very satisfied with her day's work, stretching luxuriously in the sun. Later that evening, when the plump cat finally returned home, the curious mouse was waiting patiently. "And what was this child christened?" she asked, her voice gentle and expectant. The cat stretched languidly, her belly feeling quite full and content. "Oh, that little one," she yawned. "They named him Half Done." The mouse blinked again, completely astonished. "Half Done." "What are you saying now?" she squeaked, shaking her head in disbelief. "I've never, ever heard such a name in all my life. I'll bet anything it's not even in the calendar of names." Soon enough, the cat's mouth began to water once more for the last drops of delicious fat. "You know what they say, all good things come in threes," she declared, pretending to be very excited. "I've been asked to be godmother yet again." She described a baby as black as night, with only tiny white paws, making it seem very special and rare. "This only happens once every few years, my dear. You will let me go, won't you, my sweet little friend?" Her emerald eyes twinkled with anticipation, hinting at her true greedy intentions. The mouse, however, was now very thoughtful, her tiny brow furrowed with concern. "Top off? Half Done?" she murmured, shaking her head slowly. "These names are so very odd, they make me feel quite puzzled and suspicious." The cat, growing impatient, narrowed her sparkling emerald eyes with a hint of menace. "You just sit at home in your dark gray fur coat and with your long tail, and you fill your head with silly ideas," she scoffed dismissively. "That's because you never venture out during the daytime like a proper adventurous cat." And with that, the cat was off, while the mouse diligently cleaned their little house. Feeling uneasy, the greedy cat made her way back to the church, her mind set on finishing the job. This time, she left not a single drop of fat behind. The pot was entirely empty and clean. "When everything is eaten up, one truly has some peace," she whispered to herself, stroking her now very full and round belly. Feeling thoroughly satisfied and wonderfully fat, she purred all the way home, not returning until the moon was high in the sky, long after sunset, her secret safe for now. As soon as the cat returned, the mouse, barely containing her apprehension, asked about the third child's name. "It won't please you any more than the others did," the cat replied casually, trying to hide a smug smile. "He is called All Gone." "All Gone!" cried the mouse, her tiny voice filled with dread and alarm. "That is the most suspicious name of all. I have never, ever seen such a name printed anywhere. All Gone! What in the world could that possibly mean?" She shook her head, curled herself up tightly, and lay down to try and sleep, her mind racing with unease. From that day forward, no one seemed to invite the cat to be a godmother anymore, curiously enough. As days turned into weeks, winter slowly painted the world in shades of white, and the cold grew sharp. One crisp, cold morning, when there was nothing at all to eat outside, the hungry mouse remembered their special provision. "Come, dear cat," she chirped excitedly, "let's go to our wonderful pot of fat that we stored away. We shall enjoy that delicious treat so much now that we truly need it." "Yes," answered the cat, her voice surprisingly sweet, "you will enjoy it as much as you would enjoy sticking your dainty tongue out of the window." Her reply sent a shiver down the mouse's spine, as they set out on their chilly journey to the church. But when they finally arrived, a terrible sight met their eyes. The pot of fat was indeed still in its hiding place, but it was completely and utterly empty. Not a single drop remained to ward off their hunger. The mouse gasped, her heart sinking with a terrible realization. "Oh, dear me," cried the mouse, her voice trembling as understanding dawned fully. "Now I see exactly what happened. Now the awful truth has come to light." She looked at the cat, her brown eyes filled with deep sorrow and betrayal. "You, cat, you are some friend indeed. You devoured all of our winter fat yourself, pretending to be a godmother. First, top off, then half done, then all gone. How could you?" The cat's fur bristled, and her green eyes narrowed fiercely. The cat, filled not with remorse but with fierce anger, snarled, "Will you hold your tongue, little mouse? Speak one more word, and I will eat you too." But the words, "all gone," were already forming on the poor, frightened mouse's lips, a final desperate whisper. She barely managed to speak them before the furious cat, with a swift and terrible pounce, sprang on her with cruel speed. The heartless cat seized the tiny mouse in her jaws, and in a single gulp swallowed her down whole, showing her true, selfish nature. This story, though it ends sadly, teaches us a very important lesson about being truthful and kind to those we call friends. The cat used her cleverness to trick the trusting mouse, showing great greed and dishonesty instead of sharing. It reveals that lying and selfishness might seem to get you what you want in the short term, but they always damage trust and can lead to very unhappy outcomes for everyone involved. True friendship is built on honesty, care, and sharing, not on taking things for ourselves or inventing elaborate plots. Let's remember to always be good, trustworthy friends to others.
Ever dreamed of being the hero? Now you get to be the star. Your adventure starts at TalesMio. Visit talesmio.com now.